So in this video, we're going to look at the China's provinces and the regions. So first of all, similar like American, American have different states, and in China have different provinces. So in China, we total have 31 province level administrative, so 22 official provinces and 4 municipalities and 5 autonomous regions of the ethnic minorities, and also 2 special autonomous regions. And so first of all, let's look at the 22 provinces and see what kind of special characteristics they have. So on this map, you can see the different areas are colored differently based on their provinces. So for these 22 provinces and the Henan, which is here, and this province, which is considered like a state, same like a state, had the most population, the largest population, based on 2013 data. So they have 94.32 million people. And so the smallest population is located in Tibet, which is here. And we also call it the Xizang in Chinese, and they only have 3.18 million people. But if you really look at the size, so the Tibet is much larger than Henan. So why it happened? And it's really related at the very beginning we explained it because the top steps have a very high altitude. It's really challenging for human beings to leave those areas, and also they don't have good condition to growing the crops, and which is not being helpful for agriculture. However, on the east side, they are relatively lower, and Henan is one of the southeast area, which has really good weathers, and so that's end up a lot of people located there. And so these are the very special thing about these 22 provinces. And one thing I want to mention is the provinces are not always the most natural way to divide up China's economic space. Because obviously, as we just mentioned about the natural resource endowment, so it's more important to consider the natural resource endowment than just based on the boundary of each provinces. So if we base on the natural resource endowment, we can find many macro regions. So for instance, the first macro region I want to point out is the North China Plain, so which is this area. So this area are the first area to have advanced economic development. So the reason is this area is very flat. So this is the largest flatland area in China. It's just similar like Illinois and Illinois area. So it's flat, so it's good for agriculture. So my whole family originally from this area, and I hear a lot of stories from my grandparents talking about they can commercialize growing the wheat and then supporting the population growth. So this area is growing pretty fast at the first couple from 1949 to 1978. And not only because of the agriculture, but also there are a lot of steel plants like Pittsburgh. And this area actually have a very strong industrial sectors as well, very strong industrial sectors. And so this is the first region, macro regions. So the second macro region is around this area. So you can see in the first area we have Beijing, and in the second area we have Shanghai. So this area is called the Lower Yangtze Macro Region. So at the center of the region is the metropolis of Shanghai, economically the most important city in China. So 10% of the Chinese population live in the Lower Yangtze, but the region produced 21% of China's GDP in 2003. So incomes are higher, and the urbanization rates significantly greater than in any other area of China. So it's so lucky that this time we not only will be able to look at the north part, Beijing, the macro region, but also we will have opportunity to spend time in this second largest macro region, Lower Yangtze River. So when we are visiting both cities, you definitely can feel the difference. And so these are the two major macro regions, and other regions also including this area called Chongqing. And so this area is called the Chongqing area, so mainly Sichuan. So this is the reason this area is considered third largest macro region is because this area has an inland basin, so which means it's very flat, and they have a very good condition for agriculture, and they build a good foundation for the industrialization. And so in this area, Chongqing was separated out from Sichuan province, and in 2004. And so, but Chongqing municipality and the Sichuan province together have in 2004 had a population of 118 million. So there is no natural route into or out of the Sichuan basin, and even the Yangtze River, as it flows out of Sichuan, cuts its way through specular and specular mountain gorges. So there is where the huge and the controversial Three Gorge Dam across the Yangtze was built, and the gorges were being inundated by a gradually filling reservoir. And the Chongqing and the Chengdu divide between them the function of the urban centers for the upper Yangtze macro region near Sichuan Basin, and linked to it by extensive economy and transport tie is Yunnan Guizhou Plateau. So that is where I grew up, Yunnan and Guizhou. So that is where I grew up. So this labeled the Southwest China macro region, and so the Chinese government usually lumps the province of Yunnan and Guizhou in with the Sichuan and Chongqing to form a greater Southwest China region. So these four provinces have the diverse um, um, topographies, but all have a dense population and common low income. The GDP per capita is only about half the national average. 15.5% of the China's population here produce 8.5% of the GDP. So you can see many different regions. So as I said, the provinces is important. You have to understand that because when you get a car plate, you have to know which province you're in. However, when we talk about economy, so the macro region is more important. And so these are the traditional provinces. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we also have a two special area called the two special autonomous region. So one is Hong Kong, and another one is Macau, which is very small. You might not be able to see it. So Macau and Hong Kong are the two special economic zone, and so for the Hong Kong back to China in 1997, and Macau back to China in 1999. They are all adopting the capitalism, but they are subject to the Chinese communism's order. So that's the special policy passed by the president to allow them run their adopting their original capitalism to run the economy. So this is about the provinces and the region, and so as I said, we will have opportunity to see the top two macro regions, the north and the Yangtze area.